Hello there. The world is still neck deep in the war against COVID-19. There are, of course, measurable results governed by the efficacy of the conventional methods adopted by virtually every nation in the world, including the use of face masks, hand gloves and sanitizers, regular washing of hands, identification of patients and possible treatment, contact tracing, self-isolation and quarantining of patients as the case may be. In addition to social and physical distancing, staying at home, lockdown of states and regions, as well as provision of palliatives to citizens, especially the less privileged and vulnerable groups. Indeed, various governments across the world have so far recorded milestones in that regard in the wake of the fight against COVID-19, while global medical and health authorities are battling day and night for a breakthrough in the search for a possible cure. But there is a worrisome trend in the picture. There are fears that community transmission of the dreaded COVID-19 is visible. Now, Africa and other developing climes readily come to mind. Most recently in Nigeria, there appears to be an exponential rise in the number of people getting infected with the virus, igniting rumors of community transmission. So, what exactly is the situation and how effective are the measures introduced by the federal and state governments to halt this disturbing development? That's our outlook tonight on Weekend File. We do have a well-informed guest plus detailed reports from across the country. Thank you for joining us. My name is Kene Ima Abodike. Now the news. The World Health Organization says no evidence that recovered patients from COVID-19 are protected from a second infection as Nigeria records COVID-19 cases in 27 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Let's now join Adebola Bruscle Sunday for details.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) at 11 p.m. local time, April 24th, 2020 said there are 1,095 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria, with Lagos topping the charts with 657 cases, followed by the Federal Capital Territory with 138, Kano 73, Ogun 35, and Gombe 30 cases. Below the ladder are Benue, Anambra, Adamawa, and Plateau states, all having a case each. In Africa, the International Monetary Fund has announced the payment of emergency aid of $309 million to Mozambique to help it fight the coronavirus pandemic. In the Middle East, Iran's health ministry spokesman Kianosh Jean-Paul said the death toll from coronavirus has risen by 76 to reach a total of 5,650. The number of people diagnosed with the disease is now 89,328, of which 66,599 have recovered. Records from World Ometer at about 6:30 p.m. Nigerian time show that 2,891,491 persons have been infected globally by coronavirus. From this number, 201,520 have died, while 825,032 recoveries have been made worldwide. The World Health Organization, WHO, said currently there is no evidence that people who have recovered from COVID-19 and have antibodies are protected from a second coronavirus infection. I am Adebola Bruscle Sunday.
The First Lady, Aisha Buhari, has emphasized the need for Nigerians to maintain social distancing and stay safe, as well as to obey all the guidelines by the authorities in an effort to defeat COVID-19 pandemic. The First Lady stated this during the second phase of the donation of palliative materials to some states of the country who are in need of the equipment. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
This is the second phase of the distribution geared towards supporting the government in the fight against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. 2 states have benefited from the gesture today. They include Kano and Plateau. This is in addition to Bauchi and Gombe states and the Federal Capital Territory, who earlier benefited. The items donated includes ICU beds and mattresses, hand sanitizer and gloves, disposable surgical masks and goggles, as well as drugs and other personal protective equipment for frontline workers. The materials were presented to the HOD Nursing Plateau State Specialist Hospital, Louis Sarki, by the Special Assistant to the President on African First Lady Peace Mission, Mairu Al-Makura, for onward distribution to the hospital management, while Mohammed Shatima received on behalf of Kano State Government.
Her Excellency has found it very, very necessary at this time of this pandemic to be able to help the hospitals and the staffs of the hospital so that they will be healthy.
On behalf of the Chief Medical Director, wants to appreciate the First Lady for this magnanimity.
To present palliatives in the form of medical equipment to the Kano State Government from the First Lady. Beds and gloves, overalls, and many more items.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Administration and Women Affairs, Dr. Hajosani, buttressed on the importance of social distancing.
Let me use this opportunity to actually extend the message of Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, who first and foremost, the first step she took is to obey the social distance. We are the first office to close 2 weeks before the national lockdown, so that people could stay at home to be able to take up with the directives of to see how we can fight the COVID-19.
Most states are expected to benefit from the gesture. In Abuja, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force has donated foodstuff to vulnerable persons in dire need of support to reduce the effect of the lockdown order enforced by the government to curb the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Suleiman Abdullahi Regachukun reports.
They came in numbers and in compliance with social distancing order. The beneficiaries were convened from Barakallahu, Kauya and Kirama communities at the outskirts of Kaduna metropolis for collection of foodstuff courtesy Nigerian Air Force.
We are very appreciative for what this organization has done to us now, this our village.
Air Force are our neighbors. They always assist us. We appreciate this gesture.
The Air Force authorities say the exercise, which coincides with the 56th anniversary of the Nigerian Air Force, is in appreciation of the good spirit of neighborliness demonstrated by the host communities.
Quantity or amount does not really matter, it's actually the spirit behind it. And it's in this faith that the Chief of Air Staff deemed it fit that at least we should reach out to as many families as possible.
There's nothing that will give them that will be enough. But the important thing is that in compliance with the federal government policy, to reach out to the less privileged.
250 households of the less privileged and vulnerable persons received the donation. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Regachukun, NTA News.
And as part of efforts to mitigate hardship on the indigent as a result of the COVID-19 lockdown, Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has flagged off presentation at Customs IDP's camp in Maiduguri and also monitored compliance with the lockdown. Mohammed Goni has more.
Borno State government set up a 16-member committee to commence distribution of palliative, mostly food items to cushion the effect of 14-day statewide lockdown. Professor Babagana Umar Zulum appreciated the Northeast Development Commission for presenting 15,000 bags each of varieties of food items for distribution to IDPs and host communities to complement efforts of the state government.
On behalf of the government and people of Borno State, I sincerely wish to convey my sincere appreciation to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces President Muhammadu Buhari.
The governor used the opportunity to sensitize the beneficiaries and the public on the need to adhere strictly to the preventive measures against COVID-19 and further urged them to desist from all forms of gathering. He further charged them to report to government any visitor to their community for appropriate measures. Chairman of the Palliative Distribution Committee, Engineer Bukar Talba, assured the state government that they will live up to expectation by reaching out to all the targeted beneficiaries. Meanwhile, Governor Babagana Umara, who drove around the metropolis to monitor level of compliance with the statewide lockdown to prevent spread of COVID-19, expressed satisfaction with what he saw. The governor expressed gratitude to the people of Borno for complying with the directives. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Koueni, NTA News.
Now, Kano State has joined beneficiaries of the NNPC's oil and gas industry intervention on COVID-19. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timepre Silva, alongside Group Managing Director Mele Kyari, made the donation to Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje at the Government House, Kano. Mohammed Rabiu Ali was there.
The initiative of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and its partners to caution the effect of states affected with COVID-19 across the country is a step in the right direction. Kano, which is the third in number of COVID-19 cases in the country, now receive its share. Items donated include Toyota ambulance, 2 kits of ventilators, 10,000 nose and face masks each, 5,000 hand gloves, 5,000 personal protective equipment, among others. While handing over the medical items to Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, Group Managing Director NNPC Mele Kyari assured government and people of the state of continued support to fight the pandemic.
Not all committed items to Kano can be delivered today due to supply constraints. However, NNPC and partners will continue to distribute consignment of medical equipment and consumables and logistic facilities as we receive them.
We have made a plan to deliver to every state of this federation, and there are specific interventions we'll do in the 6 geological zones. As you are aware, we may not be able to do physical infrastructure in all locations, so we have selected 14 locations where we are going to do permanent infrastructure.
Governor Ganduje appreciated the effort of the NNPC.
We have to thank you for promising to establish a permanent hospital, an infectious hospital, so that even after the COVID-19, this structure will continue to be utilized by the people of Kano State.
So far, 21 billion naira have been expended in the provision of medical consumables, deployment of logistics, and inpatient support system. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
First Bank Nigeria Insurance and First Bank General Insurance are collaborating in providing insurance cover for frontline health workers across the country who put their lives in the line of duty in fighting coronavirus. They also provided palliative intervention packs to citizens and an ambulance to support Lagos State government in the fight against COVID-19. Amaka Owo brings us details. Amaka Owo's report is coming now in the course of our bulletin tonight. In the meantime, the Ministry of Transportation has continued to extend support towards curbing the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. The ministry donated medical materials worth millions of naira to federal and state governments. Oyinaya Kalwaka now reports.
The Ministry of Transportation, through its agency Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA, as part of its support to federal government's efforts in curbing the spread of COVID-19, donated ambulance, buses and medical equipment. Receiving the items on behalf of the federal government, Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa said, federal government requires the cooperation of all as the fight against the virus is a collective responsibility. The agency donated ventilator, PPE, rapid test kits, and other medical equipment to Borno State government.
It's going to help in so many ways. They have really tried. If any agency or government parastatals are in helping states or communities in all these things, I think we can fight this thing within a short period of time.
We have been doing a lot in terms of curtailing this pandemic. Any state that have such a large number of the pandemic, we definitely have to make a little talking contribution to make sure that we mitigate or we curtail the spread of that pandemic.
Lagos and Anambra states had earlier received donation of medical equipment from NIMASA. Oyinaya Kaloka, NTA News.
The Catholic Archbishop of Abuja Archdiocese, Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama, has donated food items and face masks worth millions of naira to 38 parishes, including the Nigeria Correctional Service and 3 orphanage homes as palliative to support government efforts in curbing the dreaded coronavirus disease. Hawa Gimba reports.
May this increase the strength of our people who consume them. Almighty God bless you. Amen.
Prayers for healings and satisfaction of the multitude were offered on these food items by the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja before their departure to the 38 parishionates, Nigerian Correctional Service, and the 3 orphanage homes in the Federal Capital Territory, entrusted in the hands of the parish heads.
For the sake of you, and for my sake, and for the sake of others, we have to do it. So it's important, it's imperative, actually, that we all join hands and do it together.
There is need for us to ask people around, well-meaning Nigerians and corporate organizations, to please come to the aid of people.
On our parish level, we are going to distribute that.
While commending health workers and those on the front line for their sacrifice, Archbishop Kaigama called on churches to pray for Nigeria and the world to fight the coronavirus pandemic. Hawagimba, NTA News.
Lagos State government plans to conduct mass burial of corpses in 2 weeks' time if the mortuaries in the state are not decongested. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, while briefing journalists on COVID-19, announced that the move has become necessary as the mortuaries are getting filled up in the face of the ongoing fight against COVID-19. Nosa Osula reports.
The governor, who explained that the mortuaries were full not because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but because many have not been able to bury their loved ones due to the lockdown and Lenten season, urged residents to strictly observe social distancing measures during the funerals.
We have seen an increase of about 73% in our numbers and an average of about 70 cases per day. These numbers demonstrate that we are firmly in the community transmission phase of this pandemic in Lagos.
The governor also announced that he has pardoned 209 prisoners as part of ongoing efforts to decongest the prisons in the fight against COVID-19.
Face mask, like I did mention earlier in the week, will now become a compulsory thing that we must wear at any public gathering. We are currently producing millions of these face masks from various tailoring companies, and it presents a great opportunity for businesses, for all these small, medium-scale businesses.
Governor Sanwo-Olu urged Muslim faithful to be observant of all COVID-19 prevention measures put in place by government as they observe Ramadan. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
A 2019 World Malaria Report shows progress in the prevention and control of malaria, especially in pregnant women and children. This effort is being hampered in 2020 by the global response to the coronavirus pandemic. Uche Ugochukwu in this report examines actions on malaria in the context of COVID-19.
Countries across the globe are contending with COVID-19, although cases of the pandemic in malaria-prone Africa are currently on the low ebb. Nigeria, for instance, records 9 deaths per hour daily from malaria, but has recorded only 32 deaths from coronavirus since the index case in February. Yet, attention is more on coronavirus. The World Health Organization and other health experts worry that the successes recorded in the prevention and control of malaria in sub-Saharan Africa, where the disease is endemic, could suffer an equivalent of 20 years setback as countries focus most of their energy and resources on containing the coronavirus pandemic.
This is an opportunity to highlight the importance of maintaining robust health systems and continuing delivery of essential health services.
Agencies in charge of malaria control in Nigeria are conscious of this fact.
also working with our partners to ensure that commodities for treating malaria are available. The rapid diagnostic test kits, the ACTs for treatment, and then the injection and test unit for severe malaria treatment.
We are making a significant effort to improve malaria data quality and availability. There is a role for every citizen. Keep your environment clean, sleep inside the long-lasting insecticidal nets, go for a test when feeling feverish.
Health workers are, however, advised not to see every patient with fever as a COVID-19 case. The theme of 2020 World Malaria Day, Zero Malaria Starts With Me. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Earlier in the day, we had an interview with the Director General of the West African Health Organization, WAHO, Professor Stanley Okolo from Burkina Faso, who spoke on the regional strategic plan for the 15-member countries of the ECOWAS on response to COVID-19.
Can you bring us up to speed with WAHO's support for ECOWAS member states in the fight against COVID-19 that is in line with its strategic regional plan?
As you may be aware, the 15 heads of states of ECOWAS member states met on Thursday, the 23rd of April. It was a historic meeting because it was the first virtual meeting of the heads of state, and all heads of state participated. They were briefed on what WAHO is doing in terms of coordination, collaboration, and communication, leading this across the 15 countries, in terms of providing information, providing support, material and financial, and providing guidance to countries regarding the response to COVID-19 to ensure that they can release people to support the contact tracing.
And Nigeria, I'm very sure the world is witnessing what efforts the government is putting in place in the fight against the COVID-19, which is why recently President Muhammadu Buhari was appointed champion of response to COVID-19 in West Africa. What's your take on that?
One of the things that we know is that WAHO is there as the leading institution, but of course, working closely with the president of ECOWAS Commission, it was really very helpful for us, for the heads of state, to give us even a greater champion in terms of one of their own, the head of state of Nigeria. And President Muhammadu Buhari himself, even before the Nigerian president was appointed the champion for ECOWAS, he has been providing support directly to us in WAHO in terms of logistic support. People may not be aware of that, but there are so many things that he has been doing to support not only the ECOWAS Commission that is in Abuja, but us that are leading the regional response. So having him now would mean that we have, if you like, direct access to the heads of states in terms of the changing pandemic, in terms of the collaboration and communication, and also regarding whether we require support or whether we need to give advice. Between the ECOWAS Commission and the champion that is the President Muhammadu Buhari himself, to have, if you like, interministerial committees on economy, on agriculture, and on health to help support this fight.
That was Professor Stanley Okolo of WAHO in a chat with Ruth Aguele. Now, away from COVID-19, troops of Operation Hadarindaji and elements of the Nigerian police have eliminated 89 bandits and rescued 5 kidnapped victims. A statement by the coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, indicates that the joint operation conducted along Gidan Jaja in Zurmi local government area of Zamfara State led to the liberation of 5 kidnapped victims in the area. Major General Enenche notes that 322 rustled cows, 77 motorcycles, and several ammunition were recovered from the encounter. Still on security, the Nigerian police force has dismissed 2 officers who assaulted a woman in Osun State. The police say the dismissal of the officers, Inspector Ikweson Taiwo and Constable Abbas Ibrahim, was preceded by a trial where they were found guilty of assaulting a woman. The personnel attached to 2 Division of Osun State Police Command were seen assaulting a woman at the Odori Market, Iwo, Osun State, in a video early April. In that video, the police officers interrogated the woman on an unknown issue and soon began pulling her by her clothes. Taiwo and Ibrahim continuously flogged the woman with canes amidst pleas by sympathizers to stop the assault. Katsina Elders Forum has commiserated with President Muhammadu Buhari on the death of his Chief of Staff, Abba Kyari. In a letter of condolence by Alhaji Ahmadu Kurufi, Chairman, and Alhaji Aliyu Sani Mohammed, the Secretary General, the forum said the death is a great loss not only to the family of Malam Abba Kyari, but to the whole nation in view of the vacuum the death of Malam Kyari has curated in the presidency, especially his altruism in leadership and prudent management of resources. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu. President Buhari also received commiserations from the Managing Director, Bank of Industry, Olukayode Piton, and the former President of ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, Bashir Mamane Ifo. This is Weekend File. Halting the community transmission of COVID-19 is our focus. An expert is waiting to talk about this, so don't go away. It's time for break.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Hello everyone, hope you are keeping safe by washing your hands with soap or using sanitizer. Stay at home, it's the responsible thing to do, and whilst you're at it, you can do anything to keep your body and your mind together. Grow a beard like me if you want to, but please, let's stay at home. It's the responsible thing to do.
This month of Ramadan is here again, and we at Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society once again call on all faithful to observe the physical and social distancing directive of the government to curb the spread of COVID-19. Always wash your hands with soap and water, use hand sanitizers and face masks when necessary, and stay at home. Observe your obligatory salat, tarawih, tahajjud, du'as, and askars with your families from the comfort of your home. Stay at home, stay safe, stop the spread of COVID-19. This message is from Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
Improved household hygiene is essential to keep your family safe. Did you know that the sodium hypochlorite, the active ingredient in hypo bleach, is equipped to fight viruses and germs? Add some bleach to water, soak a clean napkin in diluted bleach, and wipe off germs from common contact surfaces. Wipe off with hypo. Disinfect your home with hypo bleach always.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
Alright everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. Go TV. Live it, love it.
A mother's instincts are hardly ever wrong. She knows when all is not well. And she trusts M&B Paracetamol, the red one, to save the day. With fast-acting and effective M&B Paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant-tasting pineapple flavor syrup, she sends aches and pains far away from her family. M&B Paracetamol. Pain can't stop you. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
Now believe this corotin. You know if you touch black man. If you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make a cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You know what your change is?
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. May una wash una hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so e no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say the betterment of our people. Now for your hand e dey.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Welcome back to Weekend File. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has devised several measures aimed at ensuring community transmission of coronavirus is checked effectively. Hakimat Aliyu in this report puts in perspective the potency of such measures in the face of many challenges.
Of COVID-19 in some states across Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory, is no doubt of utmost concern to many, especially with records of community transmission, as observed through the active community case search in suburbs of Abuja.
The challenge we're having is stigmatization. We appreciate the fact that COVID-19 is transmissible. We shouldn't stigmatize against people that are having this infection.
The FCT administration introduced new guidelines limiting operations of markets, compulsory wearing of masks in public places, as well as intensified awareness on prevention, while combing the communities to checkmate further spread.
The presidential directive is still in place, so it's continuing. We are trying to ensure that it is enforced so that you have fewer people leaving their communities to other communities.
With all this in view, it is expected that the public, including those in the grassroots, would better appreciate the role they have to play in curbing the spread of the virus.
Now, virus will be saying that when you touch person, now you go catch them. So if people say they come out for air, they work out better, they say a lie. No be airborne disease.
I implore the government to still do more about sensitization. It's like when people don't even know the reason why they are being asked to stay at home.
Responses such as these are no doubt indicators to reasons, while relevant authorities must remain proactive with effective measures to contain the spread of coronavirus. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliyu, NTA News.
Our guest tonight is Chief Epidemiologist of Nigeria, Godwin Ntadum. Thank you for joining us on Weekend File.
It's my pleasure to be here again.
All right, let's begin with an update from some states that are beginning to experience community transmission. What exactly is the situation?
Well, it's actually anticipated, as long as people continue to travel from one point to the other, you expect the virus is also to move along with the people. And one thing I want us to understand is that it is not when the virus comes into an individual that he begins to experience symptoms. You can carry the symptoms. That's why you have to stay for 14 days. The symptoms may be in you, and you are traveling, doing all what you are doing, and while you are doing that, you're actually spreading to others. And that's why the issue of having to stay at home is very important. When you have the symptoms and you travel from one point to another, from one state to another day, it is you cannot help it. You have to go with the viruses because they're in you already. So those are some of the challenges we are now having.
Isn't that discouraging, going by the fact that with all the efforts being made by the government, this issue is erupting at various quarters? What do we do about that?
Like we say, the effort of the government is just between 10 and 20%. Individual effort contributes to the spread. People have to learn, understand that this disease can only spread when you move. When it moves from one individual to another. And it's been said several times that the virus does not have legs. It does not fly. When people move, it moves with them. So you have to stay in one point, in one place, so that you don't allow the viruses to get into you.
But then some observers are of the view that slow response, by the NCDC officials during distress calls, as allegedly happened in Kano yesterday, does not help matters at this critical time of battling this virus. How do you react?
Well, that particular case is unfortunate. I must tell you that the NCDC has been doing greatly well. There are lines, not one lines, about 15 running consecutively. When you call somebody, the issue is that you will begin to look at it differently. That was a case which, of course, has been handled. It's really unfortunate that it came that way. But I must tell you that a lot is being done to improve the situation and to equally ensure that more Nigerians have access to the system. So that particular one has been resolved, I think.
Okay, you just mentioned that more Nigerians should have access to the system. In other words, you are not comfortable with the measures being put in place right now to avert community transmission of the virus?
Like so many states, like Lagos State, FCT, have instituted, community, screening. The issue is that, like has been said several times, Nigeria cannot say, now let's screen everybody. It is possible for individuals to have to have the virus and not exhibiting the symptoms throughout. And at the end, it will resolve itself. And you see, we don't have all the test kits in the world. Even US, when you go to the advanced country, they are still crying, insufficient test kits. Nigeria has to reserve some of these test kits for the people who actually need them. It is possible for you to go now and test everybody. At the end, when the individuals that actually require these test kits come, there won't be enough. It's not that we are managing, it's not that the system is trying to shy away from doing what, but there are protocols that are already laid down. When you begin to manifest with the symptoms, call and they will call. It's not that everybody will just go and say, I want to be tested, and you get tested. No, you have to satisfy the conditions that are already laid down in the protocols. So that is what is going on. In communities where you've had individuals coming, you move into those communities and do community screening. You search for people who have symptoms and you test them. So that is what is going on now in some states, like Lagos State and FCT.
But what other measures do you think, states can undertake as part of their roles?
It's like as it is now, we have to really take the issue of physical distancing and wearing of face masks very seriously. The recent release has shown that the virus can be in air for about 8 hours. What it means is that when an individual with the virus passes in a place, let's say 8 o'clock, up to 4 p.m., the viruses will still be in the air. And when you pass anytime, you are likely to carry this virus. And that is why it is mandatory for all individuals to begin to wear virus, even when there is nobody close to you. When you are going to the market, you are going to store, you are going anywhere, it is good you put on your mask. That has proven to be very, very helpful in countries that are now having the flattening or reduction in their cases.
All right, we shall continue with this discussion right after this break. Do stay with us on Weekend File.
Mama, Uncle Kem just called me. His wife just gave birth. Hey! If you not be God, though, now who go do amo? Now who go do amo? Hey, I thank God. For your girl. I was too excited to ask. Let me get my phone and call him. Mama, it's a... Mama, what's wrong?
So, I no fit see my grandpikin now as dem do obodo oyibo.
Mama, I have a surprise that will cheer you up.
Introducing Sunday Data Plan. Enjoy Sunday browsing. 200 Naira gets you a whopping 1.25 gigabytes. Glow Unlimited.
The power of cool. Everybody love me when I do what I do. Cause when I come through, I got the power of cool.
Wake up. Nothing can hold us down. Get up. Born to wear the crown.
Breakfast good day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
The coronavirus pandemic has changed the way we see the world,
the way we work and interact with each other.
COVID-19 affects all of us.
To defeat this human challenge and protect our great country, Nigeria, we must listen to our health professionals.
Stay home.
Wash your hands or sanitize. If you have symptoms,
contact the health authorities immediately.
Join the private sector coalition against COVID-19
by supporting any way you can.
Nothing is too small to make a difference. We can do it because we're strong and resilient.
Let's fight to defend our motherland, Nigeria, by working together.
And stay alive together.
Stay alive together.
Picture this, a culinary experience across northern Nigeria with exceptional women sharing exciting recipes from their community. Picture some of your favorite celebrities cooking, sharing knowledge, and enjoying iftar right on your TV screen. From miyan gauta, dashishi, miyan kubewa, lele, and other iconic dishes, then spice to life with the flavor of Maggi. You can stop salivating now. I'm Jamila Lowell, and you're welcome to Maggi Diaries Season 3.
The Executive Chairman, Oriental Energy Resources Limited, Alhaji Dr. Muhammad Indimi OFR, wishes to extend his heartfelt condolences to the Executive Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umar Azulam, over the death of Galadima of Dikwa, Alhaji Galadima Murumala Sharif, at the age of 86. I wish to commiserate with the former Governor of Borno State, Senator Dr. Ali Muri Sharif, and all his relatives over the demise of their beloved father. Let me also condole the Shehu of Borno, His Royal Highness, Alhaji Dr. Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbay El Amin El Kanemi, and the Shehu of Dikwa, Alhaji Muhammad Ibn Shehu Master II El Kanemi, for losing Galadima of Dikwa, Alhaji Murumala Sharif. May the Almighty Allah forgive the deceased and his family to bear the irreparable loss. Signed, Alhaji Dr. Muhammad Indimi OFR, Executive Chairman, Oriental Energy Resources Limited.
Thank you for staying with us. Saturday is one of the approved days for the residents of the Federal Capital Territory to enjoy 8 hours of shopping to enable them restock food items as they observe the stay-at-home order. Joshua Ojito, who was at the Wuse market, reports that measures are being worked out by the FCT administration to open 40 selling points in the city center in compliance with the social distancing protocol.
The usual gridlock along Wuse Market Road is back as residents of Abuja were in a rush hour shopping to restock food items. The use of face masks is now compulsory for anyone to access the market, with more measures being put in place by the market authority to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
Achieving social distancing in all accuracy in a place like market may not be achieved with a certainty. So the best measure is when you put on your face mask, I put on mine, both of us are safe. One other important approval that the Honorable Minister also gave, or directive rather, is the establishment of what we call neighborhood selling point.
Those permitted to open for business are traders selling essential items, while other shops remain under lock and key.
We are all trying to know where we can contribute, so that this thing will be tackled headlong.
However, observing social distancing in a place like this, many say remains a challenge that should be addressed as Nigeria battles COVID-19. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Residents of Ogumbo community in the outskirts of Lagos metropolis are complying with the lockdown instituted by the federal government to curb the spread of coronavirus. Dr. Ogunyemi reports that respondents, however, appeal for more public enlightenment to assist the elderly members of the community.
Ogumbo is one of the communities under Etiosa local government area, and according to the State Ministry of Health, this is the local government area with the highest number of persons infected with coronavirus. How then have residents of this community been able to keep themselves safe using precautionary measures that have been well laid out, especially with the fact that transmission of the disease has moved to community transmission?
I'm still begging. Let them just provide nose cover and everything. That's somebody where you went to site, you'll be using your hand, this thing to wash hand, and you'll be using your nose cover. And from there, you'll be going to your work.
Grace, a shop owner in the community, has however remained committed to obeying laid-down preventive measures.
Since I know that it affects my health, not just my but my family and anybody that come in contact with me, I have my hand glove, as you can see. I have my mask and also have my sanitizer in my bag. And also some of the customers that come, I do have them ask them to put it on their hand before they come inside. And I don't even allow them to come inside. I close my protector. What you want to buy, I can give it to you.
The chairman of the Community Development Association says they have embarked on massive sensitization despite the financial challenges.
Since that time now, we have never prayed any Jimot. Except if you want to pray for 1 month, we will scatter ourselves. If you want to pray now, if you don't be passing 20, you will say, okay, you stop at outside, let this don't finish before another people coming.
For communities such as this, watchers believe that there is a need for continuous sensitization. In Lagos, Dr. Ogunyemi, NTA News.
Chief Epidemiologist of Nigeria, Godwin Tadum, is still here with us. Let's talk about what is coming from that report from Ogumbo. It talks about public enlightenment, which takes me to the issue of some Nigerians who are still in doubt of the existence of COVID-19. Should that be the reason why the disease or virus is still escalating?
Yes, I should think so, but most importantly, many agencies, partners, NCDC, they've gone further to begin to interpret some of these enlightenment documents in local languages. You go there, and most importantly, the leaders in the communities, opinion leaders, religious leaders, they've also been enlightened. They've been sensitized enough to be able to sensitize their subjects. So more people, you hear it like organizations like, CACOVID, state governments, radio stations on their own are now out. These are the outlets, the avenues where people listen to and they understand. Yes, we still have some resistance in one area or the other where they say, okay, it's strategy for this, it's a theory for this, but those are not important. The important thing is that more people are getting aware, and you can see from when you go outside now, more people are wearing face masks, gloves, and these are the primary thing you need to do, and it's the responsibility of the individuals, not the government, of course. If you understand, you go out with it. Even when you are not wearing your gloves, you go with your sanitizers. When you touch surfaces, door handles, rails and everything, sanitize your hands. And most importantly, stay indoor if you can.
All right. Want to thank you for coming on Weekend File tonight.
It's always my pleasure.
We've been talking with the Chief Epidemiologist of Nigeria, Godwin Ntadum. We'll now take a final break. We'll come back for the final segment of Weekend File. Thank you for staying.
The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, under the leadership of its President General, His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar, CFR MNI, congratulates the Muslim Ummah on the commencement of the fasting of the month of Ramadan, beseeching Allah to grant us the blessings of the month and to inscribe us among the inhabitants of Al-Jannah. The Council has directed the suspension of congregational Taraweeh prayers, Majalis al-Tafsir, Quranic sessions, and i'tikaf seclusion in the mosques during the month of Ramadan. Islamic scholars and organizations are to employ the electronic media for dissemination of tafsir and other da'wah activities. Janaza, washing, shrouding, prayer and burial of Muslim victims are to be carried out by officials of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and other government health officials. Detailed guidelines on the suspension and the janaza are available on the Council's website and are being published in national dailies and sent to the federal and state governments as well as leadership of state councils and various Islamic organizations. The Quran says, "Make not your own hands contribute to your destruction." His Eminence the Sultan praised the Almighty Allah to preserve our lives beyond the Ramadan and grant us its blessings. Mr. Yusuf Nwoha, Director Administration, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, announcer.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed sadness over the death of Sarkin Malaman Sokoto, Alhaji Buhari Seridawa, describing him, or rather his demise, as not only a loss to the people of Sokoto State, but to the entire country because of his indefatigable commitment to peace during his eventful life on earth. In a statement by Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, President Buhari said the late Seridawa had committed himself to the promotion of peace, unity and tolerance and peaceful coexistence in the country. Describing him as a remarkable leader, the President added that the late Sarkin Malaban Sokoto had built an enviable legacy worthy of emulation. The President praised the Almighty Allah to forgive his soul and reward his noble deeds with paradise and grant his family, the Sokoto Emirate Council, the government and people of Sokoto State in general the fortitude to bear this great loss. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has paid tribute to renowned scholar and professor of economics, Professor Ibrahim Alkali Ayagi, describing him as an accomplished economist, banker and administrator who made outstanding contributions to the development of education in northern Nigeria. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, President Buhari believes that the late Ayagi will be long remembered and honored for his diligent and professional roles in tackling Nigeria's crippling foreign debt. President Buhari extends heartfelt condolences to Professor Ayagi's family, the government, and people of Kano. He prays that God will grant Professor Ayagi's soul eternal rest and comfort all who mourn him, while appealing to the multitude of mourners and sympathizers, particularly in the home state of the deceased, to maintain social distancing, stay at home, and observe all precautionary measures to curtail the transmission of the COVID-19. Before we go, a quick look at the weather report for Sunday. And that's Weekend File. Thanks indeed for watching. My name is Kenan Ima Abudike. Have a good night.